Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Tonight we have a late night insight video on a fragrance I've been wearing all day as my scent of the day. Again, Sherwood week continues, and so this is from the house of Sherwood Parfums, and it is Prakhar Gupta's first true blend that became a perfume, and it is called Musc Éternel. Now, I actually wanted to save my final application of the night so you could see how dark it is. Look at this. I don't know if you can really make out the color. I wish you could see the color. Look at that. That's a better view of the color. It is, let's say, deep and dark on the skin. I think the saffron is giving it that really sort of dark red tone, along with the synthetic deer musk and some other things in here like oud and patchouli and stuff like that. But yeah, the color of the juice gives you a little bit of an idea of the scent profile. And it's funny because everybody is going to ask the very same thing right off of the bat. Does it have real musk? And the answer to that question is yes. I actually, real quick, I don't know if you can see, but it stained my shirt. I put some on my neck right here, and it ran down. It just touched my white shirt and stained it. So you have to be careful with this. But so the answer to does it have real deer musk is yes. Yes, it does. It does have real deer musk. But there is a but. Prakhar Gupta told me that he only was able to use at the time, since this was his first fragrance, 5 grams of real deer musk for the entire batch. Okay, which is nothing really when you think about it. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's a very small amount, okay? So it adds the tiniest touch of chocolatey powderiness. Some will probably say they can't even pick up the real deer musk, but it is in there, okay? So there's a little bit of real deer musk in here and a lot of synthetic deer musk, or white deer musk, or white musk as they call it, okay? So it does add a little bit of chocolatey powderiness that you would expect from deer musk, but even more of the sort of cloudy synthetic aspects of it, which we'll talk about later on. But the first thing my nose picks up is a combination of spices, saffron, damask rose, and that musk accord. So that white musk accord is sort of the domineering note, and it hits you a big blast in the opening. And that spice, saffron, damask rose combination, if you've been following my reviews, if you are a regular here at Channel Ram, you will know that on one of our recent classroom videos, we had a review of Inexplicable by the exact same house. That was just yesterday, so it's very fresh in my mind. And so technically, I guess it's not fair to say Inexplicable reminds me of Musc Éternel, because Musc Éternel came first. So really, Inexplicable is what should remind me of Musc Éternel, even though I kind of wore them in backwards order, if that makes sense. But this is officially Prakhar Gupta's first fragrance in 2022. Inexplicable came later in 2022. So this was early in 2022, and then Inexplicable was later in the year. But the combination of spices smells very familiar, but a little bit softer than Inexplicable, if you will. And it's almost as if you can smell the spices underneath like a haze of musk. Have you ever seen like a picture of Los Angeles from far away, and the smog and haze is just like settling over the city? That's a little bit what Musc Éternel reminds me of. The spices are in there, but they're sort of baked under this haze of musk, and it tones everything down. It softens everything a little bit. It's still pretty intense, I won't lie. I mean, you can tell by the color. It's an intense fragrance, but the musk softens everything up, even though the musk is the synthetic musk mostly, okay? It's like driving your car with the window cracked, sort of, is a good analogy. You can kind of smell the particles of spice and the rose and all that stuff being let into the car air, but the recycled car air that you're smelling is controlled. It's controlled by the big amount of musk that you're getting here. So what's interesting is I don't get a huge blast of musk at any point, but you can feel its presence sort of all along the fragrance. Well, I get a big hit of white musk, but never is it just a huge blast of musk straight away. There are points in time where I think the fragrance is a little unbalanced to the heavy musks. But it's not like when you first spray, I don't get this giant blast of musk right in the beginning. Really what I get are a lot of spices and the rose and stuff like that. But the rose does come out stronger into the middle, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So Whether you're smelling the real musk or the synthetic musk, you can debate that all day. Just the fact that he's using real musk in here is pretty amazing for a fragrance that was 75 bucks or whatever it was for 50 mil, I forget. Um, but it sounds like with him just starting out, he could not get enough of the real musk to, as he would have preferred to use, is the story of how this goes. Okay, so mostly it's the white musk that you're probably smelling, but it's not fair to say that because there is real musk in there doing its job, right? So the real musk is trying to round everything out a little bit, and it's buffing, it's buffing, it's waxing, it's polishing, it's doing the wax on, wax off. And I think he would have preferred to use more real musk from talking to him, but like I said, it's probably the white musk that you're seeing, but it does still soften everything out, and it softens the fragrance out beautifully. So the downside for someone who's ever actually smelled a lot of individual materials is if you smelled white musk, actual white musk, then the smell of Musc Éternel, you'll pick up that overdose of white musk at certain points in the dry down. It's hard to pinpoint when and where because sometimes it kind of comes and goes. So sometimes I smell it and I'm thinking, man, that is a lot. It's an overdose of white musk. But now the other side of the coin is I've gone on record many times on this channel saying I like the smell of white musk. I actually have a vial of synthetic deer musk right here that Russian Adam sent to me, and I think it smells amazing. I put it on a blotter before the video, and you can kind of see I could actually smell this on the blotter from just sitting on the table over there. And it definitely recreates this fuzzy, furry / clean, dirty combination of musk in a composition. It's not. I don't think it's as piercing or as bad as some of the sandalwood, synthetic sandalwoods that just feel like they want to rip the inside of your nose out, and they are huge, punchy, hard smelling sandalwoods, whereas most sandalwoods are the exact opposite of that. They're buttery and soft and smooth and spongy and all that stuff. So I don't think it's as bad as comparing synthetic sandalwoods like Javanol and stuff like that to real sandalwood, but I do think that there is a case to be made that just saying there's real musk in here, it's almost like when people are like, is there real oud in there? Well, you know, if the answer is yes, but they use 0.00001 just to say there's oud in there, does it even matter if there's real oud at that point? Does just saying yes to that question make a difference? Or is it the smell that you're really smelling, right? So that is the debate with this. It's an interesting case study, let's say, for the true frag head. This brand, I think, is for the true frag head. Anyways, it's under the counter, under the radar. You know, someone left a comment saying that the good thing about Sherwood is that people aren't going on there and just clicking buy right away like they are with the Riesler Doré to go resell them on eBay for triple the price, right? And so for the real frag heads, it's a little bit of a kind of if you know, wink wink kind of thing, one of those type of houses. And so that it's an interesting, like I say, case study. But the white musk kind of just doesn't give that deep, pissy aspect of real deer musk that I so love in the real deer musk fragrances that I have come to love, like Siberian deer musk from Riesler Doré. I know Ensar has some amazing musk fragrances. I did a review of EO2 on the channel and stuff like that. And so on the other hand, it doesn't really mean that the fragrance doesn't develop beautifully, because it does. Even though there's a big hit of white musk, the fragrance still develops beautifully. And I found it very fascinating that Prakhar Gupta decided to mix in ylang ylang with this white musk, because it is the exact same thing that Dmitry Bortnikov did with Musc Habib 3 years earlier. So Musc Habib came out in 2019, okay? And so the ylang ylang kind of gives this weird, stringy floral feel, like a banana floral feel. And there's just something about mixing that Indonesian ylang ylang, in this case, it's Indonesian ylang ylang, with that musk note that just works. And then you go back to how the notes kind of work together. The bourbon geranium in the top works very well with the damask rose. I will tell you, I don't get a lot of citruses in the top. I forgot to mention this, but there is Italian bergamot and lime in the top, and I don't get very much. I don't get very much citruses in the top. It just kind of starts with the spices and the rose and stuff like that. The sandalwood, jasmine, oud, all that good stuff. Um, but there are one of the reasons there's such a big, I think, comparison to Inexplicable is because of the damask rose, Kashmiri saffron, spice combination. And even though there's no spices listed, it smells like there's spices in here. It smells like there is some nutmeg, clove, something along those lines. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if there is, or potentially the bourbon geranium is giving off a spicy note. That I couldn't speak to, but I will say once you start getting into the heart of the fragrance, that damask rose note really shines. It is really beautiful, and it's thick, and it's a heavy rose, almost like if you've ever seen a rose that is after the rain, and it's like the water is weighing the flower down. It's just so heavy. It's like the water is holding it down. But imagine the rose actually feels heavy on your skin, and either it's weighed down by water from the rain or morning dew or whatever it is. But it just you can feel the heft of the rose, and that's how it wears on my skin. And I think that heft is partially coming from amber. I think amber is giving it that, heavier labdanum feel. Some people that I trust that have full bottles have compared this to like an artisanal take on Roja's Amber Oud, which I did a full review on the channel. You can check that out. That was probably 18 months ago now, or 2 years ago almost, but I did a review of Amber Oud. And so the heart of the fragrance, along with that heavy amber, and I must say, I mean, the rose is beautiful, but also this is where you start to feel that jasmine, which I think adds a touch of that masculine kind of freshness. And yesterday, when I reviewed Inexplicable, I talked about this sort of hay-like honey combination from the saffron, and that working in tandem with the jasmine. Jasmine Sambac is usually the fresher, more masculine take on jasmine. But when you mix it with the honeyed-like feeling, the chemical honey-like feeling from the saffron, which I am definitely getting here in the opening. Saffron is a big part of this accord that I think Prakhar Gupta built. And I think he kind of used something similar and Inexplicable, but took it in a little different direction. So the trajectory of the musk note is ever present, even though you can see these kind of different combinations kind of coming and going. And I should mention, if I didn't before, that the white musk feels very clean and dirty at the same time. So you kind of have this contrast of, you're smelling something piercingly clean, but also a little bit dirty. And that descriptor of white musk compared to real musk, it almost is like, one thing I was thinking of, because I have some of this on the sides of my garage, is if you've ever held steel wool in your hand, steel wool can be, if you're like a rodent or something trying to get into a garage, I guess it can be your greatest enemy. But overall, I don't think humans think of steel wool as like either real steel or real wool. It's just kind of one of those things, right? But it does the job that it's scripted to do. And steel wool almost has this, when you think of it in your mind, you're probably thinking of something very specific. Like if you move it together, it sounds a certain way. You can almost smell the slightly coarse, piercing steel-like smell from it. But I don't think anyone would ever confuse it with a body of armor, right? It's not proper steel, and it's not soft enough to wear as wool, right? It's made for a certain purpose. And that is how I think of this white musk synthetic deer musk accord. I don't think anyone would confuse it for the real thing, but I like it for what it is. It does its job, okay? And what's crazy is if you ever get a chance to smell the actual ingredient of white musk or the synthetic deer musk, you will notice that you will smell this in many fragrances and you didn't realize what this was before. So you'll smell it over and over in many modern fragrances nowadays. Because of course they're not using real musk in 99.9% of fragrances, I would guess, maybe even more than that. So like I said, I don't think it's a bad perfume, but I'll tell you what I would love. I would love to see Prakhar Gupta make a Musc Éternel Part 2, now that he's more established, and now that he has more of a following, and now that I think he can afford the proper amount of materials. I would love for him to make Musc Éternel Part 2 with a proper sort of combination of real deer musk and the synthetic deer musk that he's using. And now also, don't forget, he has a couple more years of blending experience under his belt. And I would really love to know what Musc Éternel Part 2 would smell like. I bet it would be absolutely amazing. He should start doing Part 2s like Aries Ladore started doing. So deep into the dry down, which I have here an 8-hour dry down, you kind of get this oud patchouli combination with labdanum, ambery, and but the musky kind of still stays. It is a musky take, okay? And I do think the oud in the base and the patchouli, and some of the other notes in the base like vanilla, vetiver, cedar wood. There's that Indian sandalwood note, which I didn't really even touch on much, but it is here. And just makes the fragrance stay away from being too monotonous, I think. Sometimes white musk can kind of give that droning feel. Not drone like, I'm going to drone you, but drone like just droning on and on and on, right? This, it's kind of a similar feeling I get when I wear some of Francis Kirkjohn's modern fragrances, this sort of boring droning on. I feel like some of the oud patchouli, vanilla, labdanum combination in the base helps it from becoming that, let's say, helps Musc Éternel from becoming too monotonous, too monotone, too one level, right? It kind of helps it change octaves a little bit. Again, I don't know the quality of the oud that was used here. They say Cambodian oud, but I have no clue of the quality. That doesn't really mean anything is the problem nowadays. It's you have no clue the quality of the oud used, but I have been becoming more and more into the oud game lately. So no matter how much oud he used, I probably would say it's not enough to my liking. I would have liked to see more, no matter how much he used or how good of the quality it was. But like I said, I probably would have said that no matter how much he said he used. But the oud note is there. And my issue with this, again, it's not that it's a bad fragrance. It's that I just reviewed Inexplicable yesterday, and Inexplicable shares so many sort of counterpoints with this. And I just think Inexplicable is the better perfume for me. Now, someone else may say they prefer Musc Éternel, but for me, I like the way Inexplicable amplified some of the spicier notes and stuff like that. I like how it wasn't as polished, it wasn't as rounded, it didn't have that droning white musk note that sometimes you'll pick it up and you'll definitely feel the overdose. But even that being said, I still think this is a good fragrance. I still think this is better than 98% of the shit that's coming out nowadays from the designers. And I still think if you're a real frag head, this is a house to explore. I'm telling you. It's a house that I feel it's kind of like knowing like the secret menu at a restaurant or something. You know what I mean? Like you know, and if you don't know, you don't know. And so this is kind of one of those houses for frag heads. I really feel like Sherwood deserves a little bit of more of a spotlight and attention than they're getting. I think maybe there's one review on YouTube of this, and it got like 200 views. And it was put up like a year ago. So the house definitely deserves more love. Let's put it that way. So that's kind of my thought on Musc Éternel. If you have been blessed enough to smell this, I would love to hear yours. Do let me know. Let me know what you think about the House of Sherwood. Also, he does do his fragrances in one-run batches. So he'll make 50, 100, 200 bottles, and that's it. And once it's gone, it's gone. So I think Musc Éternel might be sold out. I'm not 100% sure. But you can hit him up on Instagram. Sherwood Parfums is his handle. And I'm also going to leave his email. He left me the ability to do that. So if you're one of these guys who have been like, no way, no how will I ever have an Instagram, F Facebook kind of thing, which good for you if you're that person, then I'll leave his email and you can just shoot him an email if it's something that you would like to, if you want to try to make a purchase. And he'll give you pricing and all that stuff. Prakar's a great guy. He does this out of the pure love and passion. Like I said on my last video, he is a professional in his own field, a respected professional in his own field. This is like a side hobby for him. And so I think now that he's starting to get more traction, he's trying to really put stuff out that puts his name out there. He's not so much in the I want to make money phase, but I want to get my name out there. So if you have experience with the house, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, as always, do leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Have a good night. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.